Yo, Stephanie Ruper here of The Perfect Follow, and today we're going to talk about body rolls. There are two things, more or less, that make for a good body roll. There's range of motion and being sure you're doing it in the right place, range of motion, and fluidity or smoothness. One thing that leaders really like is to have a smooth follow. What does that mean? That means, in part, that your body, the line of your torso, follows the rest of the line of your torso in a smooth fashion. There are no jerks, there are no breaks. The leader doesn't have to push harder in one place or another. Everything, ideally, when you're being led, if you're given a body roll lead from the shoulders, the spine naturally follows and it just goes. And you have some control over it sometimes. Sometimes the leader is controlling the timing of the movement. But in either case, what we're looking for is a range of motion. How big is your body roll? How big can it be? How big should it be? A range of motion and a fluidity within that motion. So how do you develop a big range of motion? How do you give a leader a lot to work with in your body rolls? The more you're capable of, the more your leader can do with you. How do you do this? Range of motion is by and large about flexibility. Smoothness is a lot about strength. Range of motion is about flexibility. How do you increase your flexibility for this? And I think probably the safest way for everybody to stretch out their back is to do a bridge. I think probably most followers, most women these days know what a bridge is from yoga, from growing up doing gymnastics, that sort of thing. It's the stretch on the floor. I'll show you briefly. Okay, this is a bridge. Okay, I'll walk into your frame a little bit. So you want to be able to get into this position. This will stretch your back. Now it's important to note that when you bridge, you can stretch different parts of your back. If you step your feet out, you can straighten your legs and push into the upper parts of your back. If you bring your feet back closer to you, this will stretch the lower parts of your back. Now I may have leapt into that into a little bit of a tricky way, but the best way to get into a bridge is to lay flat on the floor and to put your hands here and to press up. Okay, so that's a bridge in a nutshell. And if you do that once a day for 30 seconds, it could probably really help with flexibility in your back. Now this will help with dips, but it will also help with your range of motion in your body rolls. However, I don't think it's all that necessary. I think probably the best thing for gaining flexibility in this way is just to keep on practicing it. Keep expanding your range of motion as much as possible. Now you want to have strength as well. People will tell you all day long different ab exercises that you should be doing to work on your core strength. This is the amount of time I spent doing core exercises in my life. 0. I spend 0 seconds doing core exercises. I do push-ups, I do some burpees, I do some things like that, but I haven't always, and I don't think that doing sit-ups necessarily translates to the kinds of core strength that you need when you do body rolls or any other kind of dancing. I think that kind of strength comes from doing those activities. Sit-up strength could make you good at sit-ups, but it's not the same kind of motion that you're doing here. So with body rolls, I would by and large just recommend practicing it over and over and over and over again. I can't tell you how many body rolls I've done in my life. Okay, so first you have to know the mechanics of how it works. I'm going to show you. So a lot of people will tell you, we'll start with a top-down body roll first. Okay, so a lot of people will tell you that you need to start with the upper part of your body. Start with your nose. Start with something up here. Okay, yeah, I agree. But you need to pay attention to the fact that the rest of your body is not uninvolved in this process. Okay, so you're here, and if you lead with your head, lead with your nose, lead with your chin, lead with your sternum, note that even if you do that, if your back doesn't arch when you do it, you're just going to flop. There's nothing there. There's fluidity in your back the whole time you're doing a body roll, 100% of the time. Think of it like there's a bar here and a string with some tension in it dangles. When you move it, the whole string follows. in a curving-like fashion. And that's what your body is. It's a snake that follows the line of the suspension that's being led to it from the top up here. So you're coming up with your chest and your head, but as you do so, the first thing that happens is I arch my back. Right here, I feel it. And you let this arch in your back and the small of your back deepen. And then you bring your body back a little bit more, and as you do so, the arch comes further down into your back. Even further, and then it's going to get to your hips. So you're just arching, you're letting the arch roll down your back, that's all it is. You're coming back further as far as you can. And as you start coming down to your hips, your abs will make a flat plane. This is where abs are useful. Your abs will make a flat plane. And then you let yourself come down into them. So you're here, and then all of a sudden your ribs, which were at first this way, are going to come back into a concave fashion, like that. So you're up and open, you hit your hips, you come down. As you come down, you're going to see that your hips follow. So you're up, you're here, you're touching, you're down. You could think of this, a lot of people like to practice up against a wall, because if you think of yourself doing a body roll against a flat plane, you're up and you want one point of your body to be touching the wall at all times. And the points next to that point, coming out of it like here, are going to be as far away from it as possible. You have a flat wall here, and if your body is touching it here, I want the rest of my body to go like this. And that gives you drama, right? Because if there's not a lot of variation, there's not a lot of depth to what you're doing, that's fine, that's perfect, that's beautiful, it's going to be led and it's going to feel really good. But to have that range of motion in case you're being led in something dramatic, you want the rest of the points of your body not touching this invisible wall. Say my chest is touching the invisible wall. I want everything else to be back as much as possible. And then here. Now, you're coming here, you let your hips come back, and then they often swing out. That'll happen in bachata. You come up, down, swing. So now you're sitting with your back arched. Your knees are bent, your back is arched, your ass is out. You can go in the other direction now. So what does that look like? You come forward. You start with your hips. Hips are touching the invisible wall first. Then your hip bones. Now your back is arching here because this is the point of your body touching the wall. So you're here, and you fold the rest of your body to touch the wall. The arch in your spine travels up your spine. So that's it. That's the basics of a body roll. If you have any questions about body rolls, about body movement, anything, please let me know. It's my jam. And otherwise, I'll see you soon. Take care and thanks.